Welcome back, and we are talking trailers, and more trailers today. We're giving you reactions to Alien Romulus, the Acolyte trailer, Crow 2024, and a clip from the new Fallout releasing in April. And then lastly, for our discussion of the week, biopics. Are writers and directors obligated to put the negative aspects of a character's life in the film, or do they get the creative freedom to leave it out? Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to ReelTime RoundTable, where we give you the best Hollywood-related news on YouTube. I am your co-host, Josh Williams.
I'm your co-host, Jordan Burke.
I am not a co-host, Tom Selznight.
I'm the guest, Isaiah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming back.
Yeah.
You should have seen it right before right as the intro was going. Thomas over here, it always feels good when the intro and the music kind of go together, and I see you over here just
Getting hyped up for it.
Getting hyped up for it.
I always love being on the show because there's this wall of stuff right in front of me, so I can just have my hand appear out of absolutely nowhere.
How's everybody's week been going?
Doing pretty good.
We're in the home stretch of school.
Yeah.
A lot of you may not know, we actually are college students here, so we have a full slate of
fighting for our
classes
lives.
too. You're graduating. I'm supposed to be graduating, hopefully.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah. Oh man, so you guys ready to get into this?
Oh yeah.
Let's get into this. So what's our first topic, Jordan?
Our first topic is Alien Romulus. The trailer has dropped.
Yesterday.
It looks fantastic. It's directed by Fede Alvarez, which I had to say that in my head multiple times all day, so I didn't screw it up. It's directed by him, and it's based on the writing of Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the first Alien movie. Mm-hmm. The trailer looks fantastic. It looks amazing. A lot of people are commenting that Fede Alvarez has a really good history with gore, and apparently they are happy for that. They want this movie to be gory. So starting with Isaiah, what are your thoughts on this new trailer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Alien, especially the original. So hearing all of that about it makes me really excited. I was watching the trailer and I saw that it started on a ship, to start, which, a lot of the following movies, they go off in different planets and stuff like that, but I really love the idea of being stuck on a spaceship. That is the pinnacle of horror, sci-fi for me, and I don't know, the shots were so good. Mm-hmm. The way that first pan down and you see the bloodied little thing, I saw that, I was already yeah,
gotcha.
I want to watch it. I'm ready to watch right now. And then the lighting and all the hallway shots are great. I love that. Mm-hmm. Hearing that, it's going to be a little bit more gory, I'm fine with that. I see the face hugger jump out. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. So I'm really excited for it. I love the Alien franchise, and I really want them to return to the kind of roots, and I'm hoping this movie does that.
Yeah, I agree. I love the trailer. Mm-hmm. I mean, let me preface that. I love this trailer. It looks amazing. I'm the same boat as you. When Alien came out, it's that space horror is something I really love. Yep. However,
I did not expect to get a however from Josh.
Oh no.
However, I feel so Alien Covenant was the one previous to this one, which was they were leading up to Alien. Now, some people can argue Prometheus and Alien Covenant weren't the greatest or whatever. I liked Alien Covenant. I thought it was pretty good. I liked you're kind of exploring how the experimentation led up to the xenomorph that we know of Alien. I felt I just feel like they got cold feet, and they decided to go back to what they know. Go back to a space horror, a cosmic horror, yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like they were just playing it safe, which, I don't know. I have conflicting opinions about that, because why not just continue on of what you've been trying to do, even though it hasn't been the best thing ever? It's still, in my opinion, they should have just kept going instead of now. This takes place in between Alien and Aliens 2. Mm-hmm. So it's like an interquel is what they called it. For me, while I am excited for the movie, it looks awesome. I'm still going to go rush to see it. I felt like they should have not called Cold Feet and should have just stuck to their guns and just kept pushing through to finish what they were trying to finish. I don't know. What do you think, Thomas?
I'll start with the good news first. I think that the cinematography in this trailer is absolutely incredible. I mean, flashy colors and dark hallways are always going to be great when you're talking about a horror movie, especially one set in space. I get a lot of the like Star Wars themology going on with like, oh, long octagonal hallways that always like curve ever so slightly, so you can never quite see what's at the end of it. Works out really well for the horror that they're going for. And I think that looks really good. The editing I had no issue with in the trailer. I thought it was, like, I got excited for it. I will also preface this with I'm not the biggest, now that I'm not an Aliens fan, I've only seen the first Alien movie. It's the only one I've seen, and when I watched it, I was at a Halloween party, so I was like 75% watching it.
So real quick, who's seen Aliens? Just me? Okay,
I
Jordan and
have.
Thomas, come on.
I've seen like every single one, I think.
Me too.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Thomas. But I just had
I mean, coming from that standpoint, this to me it just doesn't feel like a franchise that needs expanding on. I'm like, the first one's good. The second one, where she's got the big like exo mech suit, that's cool. I haven't seen it, but I know about it. That's cool. You could have left it at that. We don't need. I just looked up. There's like 6 movies in this franchise.
Yeah, we don't talk
need
about
that many.
Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection. We don't talk
Don't worry
about that.
about it.
What
Don't worry
about
about
it.
Alien versus Predator?
That to me is fun. That was to me
Okay.
like a turn your
Yeah.
brain off, have a good time watching Predator and Alien.
I'll allow it.
Have a good,
They shouldn't have taken it seriously.
The acting was horrible. The dialogue was horrible, but by God, was it awesome
It
to
almost
see.
We had a
worked
great
though.
time.
Like,
Yeah.
like the bad acting almost made it more likable
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, my biggest note. I took notes this time. I've never taken notes for a show before. My biggest note is the last note that I have. It just says nothing special to me. That's, to me,
Ooh.
it's nothing
take.
special to me. That doesn't mean it can't be special for you guys or to anyone else out there. That is just my opinion, so take that with a grain of salt. But it just seemed like just another space horror movie with cool cinematography and decent looking CGI from the very little that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
It definitely does feel like something that you have to be a fan of. And Isaiah, I'm glad you mentioned that it kind of gives you a feel of the first one, because a lot of people, I like to watch the trailers on YouTube, and I like to go through the comments to see what the fans of these shows or these movies were talking about. And a lot of people are saying it's giving them the feel and the vibe of the first Alien, and they're here for it. They're really interested in that. So if you're a fan, it feels like you're probably going to like it. If you're kind of like Thomas and I, you've seen the first one, it might not be for you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, again, I am in full agreement with that. It's just for me, it feels like they're going back to what's safe. They're just playing their cards right because Alien Covenant didn't make as much money as they were hoping for.
Right.
And yeah, that's true, but I don't know. You should just stuck to your creative guns and just went with it.
Yeah,
But that's me.
I'm really worried about the like writing aspect of it as well, because you can have like the set look awesome. You know, they're gonna have the budget for that.
Right.
But the first movie had a lot of good comedy and character back and forth, which made it interesting, and I cared about the characters. And that's the one thing I am worried, because going into Covenant, going into all that, I didn't care about the characters as much at all. Like even the side characters in the first one, of course there's Sigourney Weaver and all that, but
Right.
the side characters, the janitor and like that, not janitor, the engineers and stuff like that, I was like really upset when they died in the first one, and it
Yeah.
made me feel that tension.
Right.
So that's the thing I'm gonna worry about, because with the last ones, I felt like the writing was a little weaker. Like even though I love the world, and I'm gonna watch it because I want to learn more. This is cool, seeing the origins. That's what I'm worried about. I think that's gonna make or break it.
Yeah.
I generally have that issue with. I'm not a big horror movie guy for that reason. It's because it's like, oh, here are all these human characters that are inevitably just gonna die, and then the best game to play when watching a not to say this is what this will be, but like watching a very mediocre horror movie is just being like, okay, which of the 10 casts is actually going to survive?
Right.
Because that's all they care about. They get so fascinated on killing people, they don't actually establish any of them and make you care. So I have a very hard time caring about them. But that's just my.
We'll see how it turns out. Either way, I am also excited. But what do you guys think of the Alien Romulus trailer? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. Let's move on now to the Acolyte, Star Wars' new trailer that just released. Now, Acolyte, not every people know what this is about. When they saw the trailer, they're not sure what's happening. Acolyte takes place about 100 years before Episode 1. This is at the tail end of the High Republic. And if you guys don't know, the High Republic is like a book series that's going on right now with Star Wars. I love the book series. It's new, it's creative, it's different. So watching this trailer, I'll start off myself. I mean, this movie has me pumped.
Is it a movie?
Sorry, not movie. The show.
Oh.
The show has me pumped.
I don't know.
I love the trailer. It got me sucked in. It did give some stuff away that I'll talk about here at the end, about the end of the trailer. But other than that, I did like it. I wonder how Amanda Stenberg, she's one of the main actresses in the film, how that's going to play out. The only problem I had at the end was it kind of gives away the ending of what's going to happen to those Jedi. Because if you remember, in Episode 1, the Jedi say, the Sith have been extinct for millennia. So that means if that's the case, all those Jedi will have to die if they're facing a Sith. They're going to have to. For that to even stay, congruent with its time, like what it's trying to say, like its story and its canon. But let's start off with Thomas. What do you think of the trailer?
I'm referring to my notes. So, again, I'll start with the good. I wrote, seems to be an original story detached from the Skywalkers. Hopefully won't only visit the same 4 places, considering they have an entire galaxy to play with. That said, I don't know Star Wars super well. I'm familiar with a lot, especially like new Star Wars canon I'm fairly familiar with. I just ended up watching a lot of the shows with my family.
Right.
That said, I'm not the biggest fan of it either, weirdly enough. But I just want them to get away from the Skywalkers. I just don't care anymore. They botched the story so hard after the first, 3 movies, and they're just continuing to drag it out. And I'm worried.
Or an aneurysm.
I'm worried that they're going to take this really neat original story that doesn't need to have anything to do with the rest of the canon, like they did with The Mandalorian, and right at the end go, actually, this was all a setup for what happened, and somehow tie it in with the stupid Skywalkers again. And like you said, the ending where they show the red lightsaber and they all fight. I'm like, oh crap, it's going to be someone that we already know, because they don't show who it is.
No.
And I bet that's going to be a plot point in that. It's probably going to be like a hidden antagonist, whatever. But
it's either Darth Plagueis or it's Darth Plagueis' master, because it's 100 years before Episode 1. So we'll see. Jordan, you're a pretty big fan of Star Wars, right? Like
I'm about 50-50.
50-50. What did you think of the trailer?
So I'm not extremely involved into it. I'm more like Thomas. I'm kind of into the newer stuff that I've seen.
I'm all in it. Everything.
You are in it. So as someone who isn't extremely involved, visually, it looks good. It looks very good cinematically. It seems like it could be a hit or miss. It kind of depends. I'm also agree. I kind of feel like we need to get away from the Skywalkers. They've had their moment. They've shined, mostly. Let's find something else to talk about. I did read an article with Leslie Headland, who is the showrunner of the show, and she said that it's a Star Wars show with no war, which could be kind of cool. I feel like you hear Star Wars, you're like, all right, there's going to be a big war at the end. So not having one could be cool. She also says they're looking at a time where there's peace throughout the galaxy, and she thinks that what makes the show different and interesting is that it's from the perspective of the villains of Star Wars. Yeah. So it looks like it could be really good if it's done well, if it's done with its research.
And and that's going to be the interesting part to me, is it's the point of view of the villains.
Yeah.
And this is true. Like during this time, there is a war that goes on during the High Republic books, but it's over with by now. So they're at the tail end of that, and they're kind of in that transitional period from the High Republic to what we know now in Episode 1. So that's a good point to bring up, and I do pretty much agree that it'd be very interesting. What about you, Isaiah? I mean, I actually never asked you if you're big into Star Wars or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. By the time of the sequels, I started to feel that kind of burnout. Like I started to watch Mandalorian. I think I maybe finished the first season, and as new shows came out, I just kind of felt that burnout where I'm like, I just don't. I love this world, and I love the original characters, but I just cannot care for all these other plots going on right now, and I couldn't keep up track. It's kind of like Marvel. I kind of started to get burnout, and now I'm so off track that I'm like,
It would be like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. I'm still processing.
It's so frustrating that they have this whole universe. It's like, okay, imagine for a second that you're an alien and you find out about Earth and human culture, and you want to make a movie franchise about all of human history, and you make 30 to 40 different products, movies, shows, games, whatever, that all span from like World War II. And it's the only part of human history that you ever talk about. And then maybe you get bored, and then you make like a mini series about like the Great Depression. They have so much to play with, and so like literally infinite possibilities. They can do whatever they want with the canon that they built, and yet they continue to focus on the same things because they think that it'll get butts back in seats.
Yeah, and to me the sequels, I'm with you. I like the first one, of the new trilogy. But the last two, especially the very last one, I was so disappointed. Like, I've never been more disappointed in the franchise. But then Mandalorian got me back into it.
Yeah.
But
Mandalorian is cool.
this trailer, I mean, I'm hoping for the best because it is something new, it's something fresh, something different. You get to explore more of what happened well before Episode 1. Me personally, they should just go back to the Old Republic and explore that world because that was amazing.
I was about to say, like, that's why I just kind of look into the lore of older stuff, Knights of the Old Republic, Bane, Revan, all that kind of stuff. What's his name? The Commander Thorn or Tharn or something.
Oh, I know this because of my brother.
Yeah.
It's like Thom or something.
Yeah,
Thrawn?
Yeah.
Thrawn, that's it.
Well, he's in the new... He's in the Mandalorian Ahsoka shows. He's the main villain.
Because he's later on.
Because they have Heir of the Empire. Like, they're following those books. Yeah.
People really wanted Benedict Cumberbatch to play him.
I did too, I'll be honest. But they brought back the guy who actually originally voiced him, so I was okay with that.
Definitely.
All right. What's that? We have one last thing to say?
I have one last thing to say, specifically about the trailer. This is very minor. Just watching this trailer, I have no idea who the protagonist is. That's my biggest complaint, is that they side so much of like, they show like Jedi doing Jedi things, and then they show the girl who's in on that back monitor. I don't
Amanda Stenberg.
Yeah, she's got like a cape or whatever, and they show the two of them, and I assume that she's like a bad guy, but not real, more like anti-hero is what the vibe
She is an assassin.
But they don't make it clear who this is going to be from the perspective of. That's my only beef.
I think it would be the perspective of Amanda Stenberg, but if you want to call it protagonist, Carrie-Anne Moss is playing one of the main Jedi Masters, and then Lee Jung-jae, if you know, he's from the Squid Game movie or show. He's another Jedi Master, and from what I've heard, Amanda Stenberg's character used to be a Padawan of Lee Jung-jae, and she went off to the dark side and so on and so forth. So I think that's what they're going to be exploring.
Okay.
But what do you guys think of this news? What did you guys think of the Acolyte trailer? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. What's next?
Up next, the trailer dropped for the reboot of The Crow, which we have given our thoughts about this topic in general. But now we have an official trailer that we get to see. So Josh, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this new trailer?
I will say I like the stills. I like the stills, and I love Bill Skarsgård as a character actor. He is incredible. He has more than proven himself to be a great character actor. This felt like an early 2000s action film that's not the best action film. At least that's how this trailer was cut.
Yeah.
Like, it was cut in a way that made me go, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, it's like one of those like B-movie type action films from the 2000s. And it was cut that way. I'm sorry.
When you say, you don't mean the B movie. You don't mean like the animated one with
No.
Okay. I was like, how are you drawing that comparison? Okay.
Looks like the B movie.
I understand.
Well, to me, it just that's how it's cut. And then besides Bill Skarsgård, you have some good actors in here. I am hoping for the best. I'm prepared for the worst. But I did find it interesting that the original creator of the first Crow said that they should have just left it alone and left it to Brandon Lee's legacy.
Yep.
But I mean, at the same time, that's a tough thing to talk about. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my. I still liked it. It was cool to see Bill Skarsgård in action.
Yep.
And it looks like it's gonna be very gory.
It does.
The trailer just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. I think Bill Skarsgård will do great in this movie.
Oh yeah.
He's very good with these edgier characters. A lot of people, again, going to the YouTube comments, people are not happy with it. A lot of people are saying that after watching the trailer, they just want to go back and watch the original.
Yeah.
And I personally think if it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave this movie alone. Some movies need to just be made and then left alone. And they need to have their moment. They need to shine. And I feel like this movie just needs to be left alone. They don't really need to reboot it. The first one did so good. People love it. So, Thomas, what are your thoughts?
So I don't really know anything about this IP. These are just my thoughts of the trailer, knowing nothing. Apparently, I don't know anything.
This was your father's time, I think. 1990s when
1994?
No, I think it was 1990 when the first one came out. Let me double check.
Okay. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Anyways, so here are my thoughts just as I wrote them down. I said, music is a weird choice.
No, 94. You're right.
I think they only did it because it sounded modern, but I don't think it matches the aesthetic. I said, this is what I wish Batman 2022 was. They show a lot of gore in the trailer, and CGI looks pretty good. Overall, honestly, I
look
watched
pretty
it. I
good.
was pretty excited for this movie, and I was a little bit surprised because when I found out that this was one of the topics, I was like, oh, well, this is the one where I'll sit out and I won't have much to say because I don't know anything about it, and frankly, it didn't sound that interesting. But now looking at it, it's like, okay, kind of like an anti-hero vigilante story of this guy who's friends with crows and can't die. That that sounds right up my alley. Sure, I'll go see it. That's pretty much it. I just thought the music was strange.
Yeah, for me, it really reminded me of Keanu Reeves in like Constantine, that movie.
Yeah.
That kind of like edgy anti-hero thing going on. It kind of felt in the between of, because I really enjoyed Constantine. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I like it.
It's a good comic movie. It falls between that and like Morbius for me.
Yeah, it's
like right in the middle.
That's actually a perfect.
Right.
Yes. Like it's not goofy or bad enough to be Morbius because it is shot pretty well compared to Morbius. I watched it. Not anything to be impressed about, but it's also not as, I don't know, I guess I just want to say sophisticated and stylized as Constantine. And I love Skarsgård, but he also, I don't know. I like him, but also I feel like the character he's given just isn't interesting to me. I just like, I like the Constantine character because it's, I don't know, a little bit more subtle of a character for me. He's obviously this anti-hero, but he's not just like, it's not like a super violent, like, oh, he's going to go beat people up, Punisher style kind of thing. Yeah. So to me, it's like, I'm probably going to watch a video critiquing it and like see the small clips, but it's just not interesting to me to really go watch on its own. The only thing that would drive me to watch is Skarsgård because I like him. I think he's a good actor.
That's true. I think that's why I would go see it is because of Bill Skarsgård, and I'm a fan, and he's pretty good. So. Yeah,
I mean, we will see how it turns out. I mean, it could really go either way. This movie could be awesome, or it could really suck. I think it's unlike. I don't think there's no middle ground for this one. It's either gonna be one or the other.
Great. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, so we'll find. We will find out. But what did you guys think of the Crow trailer? And what do you guys think of Bill Skarsgård playing the titular protagonist and antagonist, we want to call it, the vigilante? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, now for the last clip we have today, which Thomas is excited to talk about, is the Fallout clip that just came out earlier this week. They kind of gave a little scene from one of the episodes, and it's coming out April 12th. We're going to start with Thomas because he's the most excited. What did you think of this scene? I mean, I have my thoughts and things about it, but I want to see what you're the main guy who's like the authority on Fallout. So.
Yeah. So, to attest to my credibility, Fallout 4 is one of my, I would say it is my favorite game of all time. Fallout is easily my most played franchise of like any game. I absolutely love the world building. I've like written like short stories that take place like within the world of Fallout before because I'm just that enamored with it, and also because I was really bored in high school. Ever since I found out about this show, I have been absolutely terrified that they were going to screw it up. I have been so afraid. Every single like press release and announcement and like leaked set photos, I have looked at with the absolute utmost scrutiny of being like, oh, they're going to find some way to screw it up. And I've given it a lot of crap in the past. I think that at one point I was told that it was like an anthology story following 3 different protagonists. I thought that was a weird route to take it. It seems a lot like that, a lot less like that now. Ooh, can't speak. Seeing the first trailers and story, it seems like it's going to focus around the same 3 people but coming together. And now that we're like a couple weeks from it coming out, I'm starting to get excited. And all episodes come out at once. I'll probably be watching it. I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to take this like really well-crafted world and just not pay it the respect that it needs. And like so many video game adaptations have done before. Luckily, they are not adapting a story that already exists in the Fallout universe. They are taking a location that has not previously been covered very much. I mean, it's been like name dropped maybe a few times, but it hasn't been shown. They're going to Los Angeles, which I think could be very exciting. We know a little bit about that region, but not that specific part of California in this universe. They've got all original characters from what it seems. They're not like pulling, oh, this is that character from the game that you know and love. Oh, here he is on the big screen. They're not doing that. So that gives me a lot of hope. So here are my thoughts. Once again, just going to read them verbatim. The ghoul looks surprisingly good. That's Walton Goggins' character. I thought that the makeup / CGI does a pretty good job specifically the nose looked really good.
I'll give you the nose.
The rest of it, I think it's a
you the
strange
nose.
take, but I think they do a good job of having it be a good middle ground. It's not entirely CGI. It's not entirely prosthetic makeup. I don't know if it is CGI at all, but like it looks passable, and I have no qualms with it. I don't think it looks bad. I'll put it that way. Could look better, but it doesn't look bad. Lucy seems annoying, but in a good way, is what I wrote. She seems like the perfect she's the female protagonist,
Right.
female lead in the
Right there.
poster on the backside behind Jordan. She seems like the perfect naive vault dweller coming out and experiencing this horrific world for the first time. The town in the clip looks really good, although worried that same aesthetic won't be continuous throughout the entire show. I wrote, I'll use polite language, what the heck does the quote from the show, now that was a very small grub in a very, very large bucket of drugs mean? It's in all of the promos. I can't for the life of me figure out what it means. Like maybe it's just because he's like, oh, there's so much messed up with my body already, and now you're shooting me with whatever this tiny little syringe is. But like, it just does, it's not clear what it means.
Right.
Every time I see it, I'm like, why are they playing this one clip so much?
No, like I said, I've never played the games myself. I always just did watch the walkthroughs online and stuff like that. So I don't have a huge authority, as far as the lore goes. But I will say, I will give you the nose. But for me, the makeup prosthetics on his face, like he's supposed to be burnt, looks like from radiation or something, does not work. It doesn't feel real. And for me, tangibly, it needs to feel. I want to feel like this guy got radiation burns and feel that pain that he has to live through. I just don't feel it. And
I feel like they were also trying to ride the line of keeping it cost effective and also not being actively grotesque, because that would turn people off from it. I think that even in this this promo art that they have here, he looks much more wrinkly than he does in the actual show.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's okay. I don't think it needs to be perfect.
I mean, other than that, I talked about before how I'm very big in aesthetics and how the world needs to feel. Now it could change my mind on the show, but it just doesn't feel like a post-apocalyptic world. Still, to me, I wanted you to maybe talk about that a little bit. Is that how it is in the games? It just doesn't feel like
depends on the game.
It really does depend on the game.
This is giving more Fallout 4 type. If you look through the games, New Vegas is going to be the closest in location to this, because it's in California and so on. The previous games are more kind of gritty. They still had they had that comedic kind of element and kind of irony and sarcasm. It's kind of a critique of a lot of
satire.
Mm-hmm.
Satire is what I'm looking for. But it was still a very kind of grittier world. The worlds are pretty dark. But with Fallout 4, they kind of switch it up. It's brighter, and the colors pop. That's what I really got from the art direction here, because it's very bright.
Yes.
And I think that hurts the prosthetic kind of thing that was going on. That's what I was going to kind of mention, which I think it's passable. But I'm worried that they're going to take Fallout and make it a Borderlands, which it's not.
Yes.
That's what I'm worried about.
I feel sort of the same way, because Borderlands and Fallout share a lot of things, not in their actual story or their world building or anything like that, but just in the satirical overarching commentary about the entire situation. They're both very aware of themselves and take themselves seriously, but also at surface value they don't, but in the grand scheme of things they take themselves very seriously.
Okay.
And I'm worried that this show is just going to be oh haha, we're in a wasteland, and it's not going to actually analyze what that means. So you're asking this town doesn't feel like an apocalypse. All of the Fallout stories, except for the Fallout, the beginning of Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, take place hundreds of years after the end of the world. So there has been time for civilization to somewhat restart, but kind of in a different coat of paint than we're used to.
Gotcha.
So it's taking the bones of this broken world and kind of shaping it into this altered reality.
I love Sam, our illustrious floor director. It's Thomas's show now.
You talk about Fallout, and you're gonna get me talking. We can talk about Star Wars. Nah.
Jordan, I know you're not
Fallout?
a big authority like me, authority figure on Fallout, but just the scene alone, does it give you excited to watch the show at all? Since you don't know much about the world?
It does a little bit. I feel like a lot of people are with you that if it's done well, and if they put the work into it and they stay true to the atmosphere, it could be really, really good. Even just hearing people's comments about this first clip, they were kind of going, well, this little thing isn't actually how it's supposed to be, but I can look past it if the story's good. Or this isn't how that actually works. As long as the story's good, I can look past it. So, I mean, if the story's good, I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm. I will say the power armor looks pretty good.
It looks
really close.
It does.
The weapons, I think, look really good too. Still taking a Fallout 4 direction with all the blasters
Very
and
much
stuff.
so.
So, yeah.
Any last thoughts for you, Isaac? Because I know I didn't really formally ask you, but I mean, you've been obviously talking about it.
Yeah, I'm a big Fallout fan as well. New Vegas is my favorite, but I've played almost all of them except like the first two, really. I'm excited, but I'm really worried that they're not going to get the source. I think it's going to be entertaining because I think it looks fun. You know, I'm like I said, I think they're gonna look at Borderlands and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do that. That's funny and quippy and it's got crazy characters. That's not what.
My concern is that it's gonna be a story that could have taken place in any universe other than Fallout.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, what do you guys think of their comments? Are you guys more on, Thomas and Isaiah's side? Are you worried about it? Or are you excited about it? Leave your comments in that section below.
I'm woefully optimistic.
Woefully optimistic. There you go. Or let us know your thoughts. All right, now we're into our discussion of the week, and afterwards, if we have time, we'll get to one question from the audience that we forgot to do last week, but we'll get to hopefully one today. And if we go over a little bit, Chaeyoung, our director who is directing right now, just let me know. Sam will tell us, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's talk about our discussion of the week, which leads into it's a topic that leads into our discussion. Now, everyone knows, maybe people don't know, Micael Jackson's a biopic that comes out next year. It is kind of just exploring his entire life. Now, one of the directors of the Leaving Neverland docuseries that was on HBO Max came out, and he got a copy of the script, and he felt that it was, quote, whitewashed, where they overlooked and left out.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, typically overtime is 45 minutes is our stop time, but if we go to 50, if we go to 50, it's all good. It's okay. It'll be, we had a lot to talk about today, but going back to this, he says the Leaving Neverland director said whitewashed it and left out a lot of the allegations, a lot of the negative aspects of Micael Jackson's story. Mm-hmm. And I mean, regardless of that stuff, I think we could all agree Micael Jackson's music and his influence on the music industry is legendary.
Oh yeah.
And can never be taken away from him for that. But there is something to be said there. That leads to my discussion, which I will start off with Jordan, and we'll kind of go round robin, talk your way through it. Are producers, writers, and directors, are they obligated to, is it required, you think it's required for them to include negative aspects of that person's life in the biopic if they're making one? Jordan?
I understand if they choose not to, why they don't. A lot of people that make these biopics about certain stars usually are fans, or even I believe for Bohemian Rhapsody, the band had influence on the film.
Yep.
So I understand why you probably don't want to hate on your friend if you're friends with them. But as other fans that watch the movies, we can tell and we know if the story is not 100% true. And we know that things are not, they leave things out. When you mentioned that we wanted to do this topic, the first thing that I thought of was the Elvis biopic and the Priscilla biopic, because Priscilla Presley was heavily involved in that movie, and they both show Elvis as being a very successful performer, but his personal life is shown very, very differently. In Elvis, they kind of show that he was sort of cheated out a little bit. He was under a lot of pressure with a lot of other people. In Priscilla, they kind of show that he did a lot of things to her that he probably shouldn't have done. So,
yeah.
I mean, we know if a certain person is not actually how they show, but I understand why they're going to choose not to.
Right. What about you guys? Hold on. We got something. Respect for victims. Sam says, respect for victims, I think it's a courtesy/respect thing. And that's a very good point, too.
That's fair.
It's a very respected point, too.
I mean, I think there's a way to do it where you're not, directly saying, because, I mean, at the end of the day, with things like this, it's hard to, 100% say, yes, this has or hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. We can hear what the victims say, we can hear what, the accused say. I think there's a way to still include it in the movie without outwardly being like, oh, everything he did is just awful. You know, he's
Right.
a terrible guy. Because Michael Jackson did interviews addressing the allegations. You could have included that in some way, and at least gives the victims some voice in it, where we're going to state what they say in the movie, and we can't affirmative say in the movie whether it did or didn't happen because we're not Michael Jackson, but we'll keep it in there. You go look into it. You've now heard about it, and you can look it up further if you wish.
Right.
And I think that shows respect to both people, because I don't know the situation fully. I was not even born, so I think there's a very respectful way to do it with both parties, because obviously you're not going to get funding to do the movie in the first place if you go into it and you're like, we're just going to trash on him, because there are other parts of his life that you have to portray.
Right.
And I think just you could have easily had it in the last half, focus on that, and end the movie with that as kind of like a final message to go make some thoughts of your own. Go look into it.
Right. Here's what I'll say for me, and then we'll go to you, Thomas.
Yep.
Here's what I'll say, and I hope I'm saying this right. Do I think they should address it in some way in every biopic? Yes, I think they should. Are they obligated? Like, am I going to say you have to?
You must do that.
It's the law. This. Like, you have to. I'm going to say no, because I feel like the creative freedom of trying to make your own vision of a story has to be there. Now, I think they should? Yeah, because negative aspects to me of someone's life is just part of their story. And nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? If you're trying to portray someone's life, portray it in all aspects. Like, for me, Straight Outta Compton. Love that movie. I feel like it was snubbed for some Oscar nominations. That is still one of my favorite movies of 2015. But it was glaringly, they avoided a lot of Dr. Dre's assault allegations that happened with him during that time. And to me, that was like, why shy away from it? Even though he was heavily influenced, him and Ice Cube were heavily influenced in the making of that film, why shy away from it? It's a part of your life. You made up for it. You had your apologies, whatnot, or however it goes. Why not just include it to address it? You know what I'm saying? So, but again, I'm not going to sit there and be extremely angry if they don't. But I don't know. Does that make any sense to you guys?
There's like a middle ground between having your creative choices to tell a story in a certain way. I think we get
We got another.
Hold on. Sam says it
Humanizes idols too. I like that.
humanizes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's the issue of trying to tell a story that has a strong, clear narrative, cause and effect, versus real life, which isn't always working like that.
Yeah.
But I think when you're making a movie, especially when it's this super big budget movie, that is going to cement an image of that person in millions of people's, eyes.
Right.
And that's going to be a moment in time. So many people are going to see this. So I feel like you have a slight obligation to at least tell the full picture.
Right.
And you only have, I don't know how long it's going to be, probably like 2 hours-ish. That's
would
how
say
long
the average is
Bohemian
2 hours,
Rhapsody, I think, was. Rocket Man. So, you can't address everything in its entirety. I'm sure there's books that you can go look in detail. So I feel like you just have to try and cover as much as you can while still maintaining a narrative. Because at the end of the day, it is a movie, it's a story.
Right.
Just involving real people. So there's a good middle ground there, I think, movies like Bohemian Rhapsody showed a tiny bit of bad stuff, and like you mentioned, Compton showed a little bit, and that's kind of the middle ground I think it should fall in.
Yeah. What about you, Thomas?
I think I'm glad that you mentioned, and even that we've got both Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody up here on our background monitors, because they're, in my head at least, the natural thing to compare it to, because both are movies about very well-known artists who had a very large effect over the music industry, who had some not great things happen to them, or that they did. So in the case of Rocket Man, Elton John got really into drugs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, and in the end of that story, he made up for it. He went to therapy and through rehab, and has been sober now for almost 30 years.
Right.
in Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury, he kind of fell out with his band. He said some not super nice stuff, and at the end of the day, he was gay in the 90s, in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's not really his fault. So once again, he kind of made up for that at the end of that narrative in the movie by doing the Live Aid tour, and that's sort of the grand finale before what inevitably happened to Freddie Mercury. It was passing away due to AIDS, the thing that he was trying to advocate against, or to raise awareness of, rather. So I think with this one, it's the natural thing that you want to compare it to, because Micael Jackson had a major effect over the music industry and had these allegations against him, and he tried to address it. But unfortunately for him, and I could be wrong in this, I don't know it super well. Again, I was like 7 when he died. I remember the day he died. But again, he died, so he didn't really get closure on any of those cases. We don't really know how they would have turned out differently. So while I do think that it's a thing where you should do it, but you maybe not 100% obligated to. But in this case, it's really hard because there's not really a closure to that story. There's not really that quote-unquote redemption that we got from the other two. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's very hard in this specific case.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring up, because it is a very hard topic to think about. Like, and it also makes me wonder, like, we're getting close to time here, so we'll wrap up here and get to a question. But it goes to that question of, should it also include the severity of things, like of a person's negative history? Should it include it if it's really, really bad, or should they include it if it's only like, what I mean? Is there a spectrum to it? It's a very interesting topic I feel like we need to discuss, and I think we addressed it pretty well. I mean, it seems like it's a good practice to maybe do, but I mean, I won't be, unless there's something like really horrendous, I would not hold it against if they didn't. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they should. But anyway, that's me.
I have one final thought. It's the only note that I took for this part of it. It's just because we have Bohemian Rhapsody, which is named after one of their most popular songs off one of their most popular albums. Rocket Man, once again, one of their most popular songs off of one of the most popular albums. Micael Jackson's biopic, you know what it's called? Michael. Just Michael. And I think that is, as I put it, an absolutely stupid, horribly bad, dumbass name. I think that Michael. I think that Michael is a really stupid name, and I think that they should come up with something better. I don't know what to call it. Maybe you could call it Thriller. Who knows?
I was thinking Thriller, honestly. But all right, guys, what did you think of our discussion? Leave your comments in the section below. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with us? Share your thoughts. We would love to hear them. Now we have time for one question. Rapid fire for us from an audience member.
An audience member. Rapid
What is
fire.
their question?
Our question today: what is your favorite superhero, and would you want to take their place if you could?
Ooh, let's just go around the table. We'll leave you for last.
Leave me for last? Okay.
We'll go around the table. For me, I think, that's tough. My two favorite horror, it's a tie for my two, Daredevil and Punisher. I don't know if I want to take Daredevil because I don't want to be blind, and I don't want to take Frank's because I don't want my family to die. But
that's a real quick catch-22 there.
It is, isn't it? But at the same time, they're both just such awesome characters. Like, to me, awesome characters with a lot of depth. But I don't know if I would take their place, but they're definitely my top two favorite characters. What about you, Thomas?
I'm going to go with, I'll just say Spider-Man. I'm already a broke college student. What else do I have to lose? I guess my uncle.
Okay.
But I'll go with Spider-Man. Sure.
Okay.
I'll be buff for the rest of my life and just not tell a soul about it.
Stand in the mirror and just flex.
Yeah. I have spider powers. That'll come in handy occasionally. I'm not gonna go fight crime. I got too much else to do.
Yeah. I think for me, it's probably, I'm gonna choose one Marvel DC. I would say Spider-Man and maybe the Flash.
Okay.
I always as a kid, I always liked the Flash. Since you're going with Spider-Man, I'll probably say the Flash. Yeah, I'm gonna take. It would suck to have
Your mom
reverse. Died. Yeah, but sacrifices have to be made. Sorry, Mom.
To get that lightning speed, you know what I'm saying?
Reverse Flash. I'll come back. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. But
then create a paradox.
And then you'll get Michael Keaton as
Super
a friend
speed is awesome.
What about you, Jordan?
I was gonna say the Flash, but I love my mom. Love you, Mom. I don't want my mom to die. She's my bestie. But I'm still gonna say the Flash. I'm gonna say specifically CW Flash. the TV show.
Grant Gustin.
Yep, Grant Gustin.
Love me some Grant Gustin.
That whole show, I just think it'd be fun until it got dangerous. Then I wouldn't want to do it. But to be on Team Flash, that would be dope.
Take note, James
would love
Gunn.
that.
If you want to hire a Flash guy, just bring back Grant Gustin. Have him as your Flash in your new franchise. That's all I'm saying.
He not busy? I think
No?
he is actually.
He is.
I think he's on Broadway right now.
All right, guys, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. More importantly, what did you think of all the news we had covered here today? Leave your comments in that section below. Let us know your thoughts. Also, go to a wide for me. Chae Young.
Wide shot.
Wide shot.
Wide shot.
Hold on, let's go to it.
We're
Came
flipping it.
to-
We're
We're
flipping,
flipping
the
things.
script.
Oh, we're flipping things. Okay.
There we go.
And if you like what you watched here, hit that like button, punch the subscribe channel so you can receive all of our great content we have for you here on Red Digital. We have Friendly Fire on Thursdays. We have D&D
With
on
Sam behind the
Fridays.
camera.
With Sam behind the camera on for Friendly Fire. And we have Cinema Sit Down on Mondays. We have a great quality product for you here. And so subscribe to our channel and keep up on all up-to-date stuff we have
Oh,
for
with
you
the
here.
D&D show.
I said D&D.
Oh, I forgot.
It's okay.
I had a singing moment.
That's all we have for today. Again, I'm Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke.
I'm Thomas Delzite.
Isaiah Townley.
And thank you for keeping it real with Real Time.
Real time.
Bye.